double E. Sheep. Eat. We saw it in the chant, eat, and it comes at the start, so it's definitely not Y, because Y would make a completely different sound at the start. It would make the Y sound. Eat, it's EA. Please, please. It's in the middle there, please. So which of these? It's this one. Please. And finally, lolly. So that sound is at the end. So it's probably, well, it is a Y. Okay, so 3 different ways of spelling the E sound. Usually, if it's in the middle, it's either EA or EE. So at the end, it's usually a Y. There are exceptions, such as tree. It uses this at the end. Okay, well done. Let's move on to some reading. Let's start by looking at some more vocabulary. And these are ways to explain where things are or where things are going. So the first one is along. Along. You can see in the picture there's a girl walking along the path, along something. You might walk along a path or walk along a road. Second one is through. Through. You go through the door. Through. You go through something. Number 3, in the middle of. In the middle of. So you can be in the middle of a circle. In the middle of. Right in the center. Next one, at the top of. So you can see a man at the top of a mountain, at the top of. The next one is between. Between. Sort of like in the middle, but between is usually if you're between 2 things. And inside, you can see a girl inside a box there, inside. Okay, so again, along, through, in the middle of, at the top of, between, inside. Okay, so now let's look at a piece of text that uses some of these words. And today it's history, and it's about the Vikings. So it's factual writing. Let's read it together. The Vikings. The Vikings came to England 1,000 years ago. Viking houses were very small. There was only 1 room in some houses. There was a fire in the middle of the room for cooking and heating. There were holes at the top of the house for the smoke from the fire. There wasn't a lot of room between Viking houses, so the animals were sometimes inside the house. Viking houses were very full. In the north of England, there is a city called York. The Viking name for York was Jorvik. You can learn about life in Viking York at the Jorvik Viking Centre. At the centre, you can go through a Viking town. You can sit in a special car called a time car and move along a Viking street and through a Viking house. Okay, so a text there about the Vikings. So you can see the use of was and wasn't, were and weren't, because obviously we're talking about the past. There wasn't a lot of room. Animals were sometimes inside the house. And you can see the use of the words we've just looked at. So along, through, in the middle of, at the top of, between, and inside. Okay, so let's do an activity together. We've got some words here. Full. Holes. Fire. Houses. Room and city. Okay, so we're going to fill in the blanks of the sentences with one of these words. Number 1. York is a something in the north of England. York is a something in the north of England. So look at the words and choose the correct one. The answer is city. York is a city in the north of England. Number 2. Viking, something, were. So were, that's a clue, we know it's plural. Very small. So, big clue there, were, plural. Look at the words. We've got 2 plural words here, holes or houses. Obviously, houses makes more sense. Viking houses were very small. Number 3. Number 2. Viking houses were very something. Okay, so we're looking for a descriptive word. Okay. Number 2. Viking houses were very. So we're describing what the houses were like. So there's only one adjective here and it's full. Viking houses were very full. Number 3. Viking something weren't big. So a clue here. Weren't. So we're talking about something plural. If you look at the list of words here, there's 2 plural words and one makes more sense, and that's houses. Viking houses weren't big. Okay? Number 4. There was singular, a something in the middle of the room. Okay, so we've got 3 nouns left. We know it's not room because room is already in the sentence. And we know from was, it's something singular. So it's not holes. That leaves fire. There was a fire in the middle of the room. Number 5. There was, again, singular, only one something in some houses. So singular, we've only got 2 left, and there's only one that's singular, and it's room. Which makes sense, there was only one room in some houses. So last one, we've only got one choice left, but let's build the sentence. There was or were, it's plural, there were. There were holes at the top.